Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers, and welcome to the very last episode of the So You Want to Be an Imagineer Historical Retrospective, this time covering the final part of Season 10. At least it's going to be the last episode until we get to the historical retrospective for Season 11, when it happens. So, at this point, we are down to 7 people. Hack2112, Man-Eating Wreath, Thrill, Snoopy, Future Imagineer, Adventure Blue Dude. And I thought I could get through this all, but I can't. I have to look at it. Let's see. Adventure Blue Dude. And this is really professional. And Basket Buddy. How can I forget Basket Buddy? Doy. I feel dumb now. That was the final 7. In the merge project, we lost 2 people. We lost Phineas the Ghost. Phineas the Ghost is a really interesting story because basically he started out of the gate really strong with that concept art that I was talking about. But he's another person that I really feel couldn't really get the team-based gameplay of So You Want to Be an Imagineer down. And really, to tell you the truth, throughout the whole season, I was kind of trying to convince him not to quit. The real nail in the coffin in his gameplay came when his scanner broke, because really, when it comes to gameplay, if you have concept art skills, that automatically gives you, it just gives you a lot to work with in the game. It just gives you a lot of value. So, the fact that he didn't have that to his advantage, he really didn't know what to do with himself, so it was a sad thing. I get the feeling like he there was a little bit of turbulence with a few of the members during the course of the season. And then the off-season, he really kind of had it out with the member Jalen32, who was eliminated earlier. So he was a sad case because I really wish he would have had his heart in it a little more. And then in 8th place, we had Disney Man 1. The guy that got way further than anyone thought he would. He was the resident underdog in Season 10. Most times, the resident underdog gets to at least close to the semifinals, but this time I call him the resident underdog, mostly because, when it got down to the final 7, really, it was pretty much, besides Snoopy, everyone was an all-star. And Snoopy had a previous relationship with me anyway, so he was pretty much an all-star in my mind to begin with. So, Disney Man 1 getting eliminated, it was really the last of the new people. So, he was a spunky personality. The QU project, he designed a Winnie the Pooh honey hunt project. What I liked about this is that it kind of incorporated some elements from old school Toontown into the mix. Like, there were some bounce house sort of elements, and I don't really remember what else, but I remember they could really foreseeably happen in a queue, and that's what I liked about it. It was really, not one of the stronger projects in the first project, but not really one of the weaker ones either. It was much better than people give him credit for, really. So, he's just, again, it's one of those things where the team-based gameplay really got to him, but he was spunky and he really wanted to stay in the game, so I give him a lot of props and I can't wait to see what he does next. So, moving on, Little Broadway. Best project of all time. I don't really think I need to go into that much detail about why. Basically, the thing about Little Broadway is that every little singular element of it works. The Ink and Paint Club works so well. The Great Broadway Ride, excellent flow to it. Just everything about that project is just pitch perfect. The presentation's stellar. The concept art's great. The team worked together flawlessly. It's just everything that I wish a So You Want to Be an Imagineer project would always be like. It was just great. It was brilliant. I freaking love it. So then the next project after that, to refer to my notes, because I'm not very professional, it was the Miyazaki project. So at this point, as I said before, Hacked kind of checked out of the game in the middle of the Halloween Horror Nights project. It was a disappointment that he didn't really give any feedback for that project. So no one was really surprised when he was eliminated in 7th place. So now we got to the Miyazaki project. At the time, I had been on a real Hayao Miyazaki binge, really. I had been watching all his movies, and I was just sort of captivated by him, especially about the idea of his ongoing and running motif of the flying machines. And I really wanted to see something like that translated into a theme park attraction. Tricky thing was about this attraction, about this project, I should say. It was a whole Miyazaki experience, but the main e-ticket couldn't have anything to do with any one Miyazaki movie. Really tricky thing. And Man-Eating Wreath, who at this point, I mean, he'd been a huge power player, dominant force, pretty much the season's resident Disney son, in that, like, it was pretty much a guarantee that he was going to get his way into the finals. Bam! He comes up with an e-ticket. At this point, everyone's trying to contribute stuff to the project, and the merge team had really become a really solid and well-oiled team. I mean, every single person there in the final 6. Future, Mew, Snoopy, Thrill, Basket Buddy, and Adventure Blue Dude. All 6 of those people, just fantastic players. It made the final 6 the most competitive ever. Some of those eliminations were really hard. But Man-Eating Wreath, he ends up doing the... my point being is that everyone was contributing, and so, you know, it's like everyone was contributing a really solid block to the projects at this point. Man-Eating Wreath takes on the e-ticket by himself. Quite frankly, Garrett, it was kind of a mess. I mean, in a way, it was kind of just as bad as your Lord of the Rings project, even though it had more ambition behind it. Just because, I mean, nothing in this project was foreseeable. It was just the definition of just an entirely unrealistic project. I mean, there were flying dragons and people getting in and, like, live actors and getting in and out of vehicles. I mean, Garrett, I like the ambition you had, but yeah, buddy, that was not one of your brighter moments. So he got eliminated for it. He got Miyazaki'd. He put the term Lord of the Ringed to rest and got Miyazaki'd. So coming into 5th place, this made things just a little bit more even because everyone was kind of, Man-Eating Wreath, like I said, he was really kind of on a fast track to get to the finals, so him being eliminated, it really made things a little bit more even keel. So then came semifinals part 1, which was the Dark Knight project. For just a second, I kind of debated on whether or not to do the Dark Knight. This was a follow-up to the Batman project. I'd been wanting to do it ever since I did the Batman project, just because the thing with the Batman project was that we didn't want them doing it to any one interpretation of Batman, but I knew they all wanted to do the Nolanverse. I knew they all wanted to touch the Nolanverse. So I thought, what the hell, why not have a sequel to the Batman project? Batman's a good enough subject, the Nolanverse movies are certainly good enough. At this point, when I was planning the project, I didn't know that The Dark Knight Rises would be the mess that it was. Of course, personal opinion, I know people like The Dark Knight Rises. I think that Spider-Man 3 was less offensive as a sequel, quite frankly. I think that movie's horrible. But, except for Bane. Bane had a lovely, lovely voice, and I really like doing the voice of Bane because it's really fun, and Gotham, and all that, and yeah! Bane is the only good part of that movie, and even he gets turned into just a domesticated, I hate that movie. Personal preference, people. And of course, the shooting that went on in Aurora, Colorado at the midnight screening. I mean, there were a lot of things working against this project from the get-go. They did a really good job with it, though. They did a really solid job. The e-ticket they came up with was really good. It incorporated all the Nolan villains really well, and even had Mad Hatter as a new villain, and Mad Hatter fitted perfectly into the Nolanverse. Snoopy did a really solid flat ride that was based on King Croc that took place in the Gotham sewers. Excellent. And Snoopy also did a flat ride in the Miyazaki project that really was really solid as well. So at this point, Snoopy was taking on a niche of doing flat rides. So, yeah, Future Imagineer ends up getting eliminated from the Miyazaki project. I mean, not the Miyazaki project, the Dark Knight project, guys. Oh my god, my mind is just, like, completely just... I'm just trying to do this in one take because I don't even want to edit this because I am done. I am done with these retrospectives. This has gone on for far too long. It's ridiculous. I've made about a 10-hour series at this point, so I feel like I am just babbling on inconsistently to myself and just acting like a general crazy person. So if you've watched all of these, then props to you. Anyways, Dark Knight Project, Future gets eliminated. Future was the team leader, and quite frankly, as the team leader, he really didn't do all that much, and that was my main problem. It was a really tough call, though, a really extremely tough call between him and Thrill. Thrill, at this point, I should have mentioned this earlier, but he developed a new way of presenting projects, which were in these I think they were PDF documents. And he basically set up these really elaborate websites to create the projects, and it was just stellar. It was solid, and he put a ton of work into the Dark Knight project, so that's why I kind of had to bring Thrill into the semifinals as opposed to Future. Semifinals, called Pass the Torch. We brought in two guest judges, the two that had the biggest rivalry, King Mickey and Mouseketeer Cole from seasons past. This was the first time we'd seen Mouseketeer Cole in a while, since season 7, in fact. They were both, what was going to happen was the final four was going to all do individual standalone projects. The theme of the project was a spiritual successor to the Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean. And Cole and King Mickey would each pick out their own favorite project, and those two would advance to the final two. Basket Buddy did a project that was based on Greek gods, and I love it. I can't really go into a lot of detail about it because my head's hurting from talking about all these creative projects, but it felt like a true e-ticket. If there's any flaw in it, it felt more like a thrill ride than it did a dark ride, but I mean, it felt like a true massive experience. Adventure Blue Dude did a project that was based on the bios. Now, of course, you have to admit that, I mean, you could say it's a bit derivative of Pirates of the Caribbean, but, I mean, the way he did it, it was really creative. Again, I don't remember particular details, but I know he made it stand out. And Snoopy did a project that was just really old school Mark Davis style, and, oh god, I believe it was like some sort of Jungle Explorers type project. And Snoopy, his specialty is old school Mark Davis style projects. So in the end, Basket Buddy ended up getting advanced to the final two pretty easily because it was obvious he had the strongest project. And then it was between Thrill got eliminated in 4th place. Solid effort by Thrill. Really good effort. Really managed to become a very, very improved player from Season 9, as did Future Imagineer. It was between Snoopy and Adventure Blue Dude, and Mouseketeer Cole was going to make the call. Cole ultimately ended up going with Snoopy. Now, if it was me personally, if I had to make this call, I'd be very conflicted about it because I know Snoopy's personal style and I know what he was trying to do. But in the end, I just think that Adventure Blue Dude just put in a little bit more effort, so I have to give the edge to him. But yeah, Snoopy got in. It was a little bit controversial. People really thought that Adventure Blue Dude should have got in. But hey, at the very least, Adventure Blue Dude got to keep his incredibly consistent record of being eliminated right before the semifinals every time, except for the time that he won. So, good for him. So, the final two was Basket Buddy versus Snoopy. The project itself was to create an alternate timeline of... God, this is really... my head hurts from trying to explain this, because I know I have to explain it. Okay, it's like, you take one attraction per decade, and you redo it. You entirely redo it from the ground up using just the theme. You entirely rename it and everything. And you could only use technology from the decade that it was available. And they'd have to do a whole timeline of this from the 1950s up until now, using the queue of the first project and completing it as a full-blown attraction to tie everything together. Can't really go into anything about the creative aspects, because I remember it was a really strong set of projects, and I really enjoyed reading them. And I really like the twist of only being able to do the technology the time. And that's something that's going to be present in Season 11 to a certain extent in one project, so look out for that. But in the end, it was a really close vote. The 5 jury members voted. I didn't have any say in it. Disney Sun didn't have any say in it. Only the jury members had a say in it. And by a vote of 2-3, like one of the closest decisions we've ever had, Snoopy edged out Basket Buddy 101 for the win. Snoopy, again, he kind of had his niche. His niche was flat rides and old school projects. He had a stellar social game. He just kicked butt in the social game. I mean, that is really where his strength lied. He has the big distinction of going the whole season without once being nominated, and I consider that a big accomplishment for him. And yeah, just overall, I mean, every time he posts anything, it'd not be without words of encouragement to other people. And I feel by just being that positive presence, he got himself a long way in the game. I mean, he got himself a long way just based on the social game. So Snoopy, props to you. You're very much a deserving winner. Basket Buddy, again, he continued his streak of being the runner-up. And he had a very solid run in this season. And I feel like without his concept art, this season creatively wouldn't have been half as good as it ended up being. And that was kind of it. So I know this last video was kind of rushed, guys. I'm exhausted. I, quite frankly, don't want to do these things anymore. This was a major undertaking for me. I have a headache. I'm going to get some dinner. Can't thank you enough for all your participation and putting up with me. And here is to a wonderful season. I can't wait to start Season 11. I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. Oh, and just for crafts and giggles, yeah, check out my avatar. It should be pretty obvious what the next project is now. So I bet you can't wait for that. Alright, guys, I'm signing out. This video has gone on way too long already. See you later, and again, I hope to see you in Season 11, and good luck, and salutations, and whatnot, and blah blah blah. I'm going to shut up now. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers, and welcome to the very